Okay, y'all, so this is going to be great. This is fun. I deleted the introduction to this video. So what you're going to see is a intro clip. Like, you're going to see me in the next clip of being in bed talking about books with an 11-minute intro that is missing. How I managed to do something like that, I don't freaking know. I don't know how I did it. So I kind of had to like maneuver and figure out like what volumes had I already talked about before you get to that second clip, and what had I not talked about. And also what's going to be weird is that at some point in this video you're going to see me in the same shirt, because I'm literally refilming an intro right now and also filming an update for it's a hot ass mess. But why are we surprised? Because, you know, this is just how I maneuver my life. So in the introduction, I believe I was saying something like, I am, trying to title this video to be 30 days of manga in 30 days of manga, 30 volumes of manga in 30 days. And spoiler alert, I'm going to be behind this entire vlog. Okay. So don't even worry about it. I just wanted to kind of like catch you up before we jump into like what I had been reading. I wanted to catch you up and tell you like what I had read prior to reading what I think I start talking about, like what did you eat yesterday? Volume 1 is what I'm talking about in that clip. So prior to that, in this introduction, I had only read Blood on the Tracks Volume 2. I had finished Skip and Loafer Volume 2, and I had finished If I Could Reach You Volume 2. So quite honestly, like I hadn't really, it was an introduction, but I hadn't really read like a whole lot. So I can talk about them a little bit. Blood on the Tracks, I can't really talk about, y'all. Blood on the Tracks is one of those where it's just kind of hard to really talk about that manga at all, because it's one of those things where you just have to read it to really experience it. So I did end up reading If I Could Reach You Volume 2. This is a Yuri manga series. It's about a young girl who is pretty much in love with her brother's wife. She was friends with her when she was younger and everything, but then she starts getting these romantic feelings for her and the whole nine. And so this is about her trying to work through those feelings to some capacity. And it's a very interesting thing, because like part of you is kind of like, just tell her that you have feelings for her. But the mangaka sets it up to where her brother is just not that great of a person. I kind of saw it coming. Like what happens at the end was kind of obvious to me, because the brother did something and I wasn't expecting it when he said the statement. When he said the statement, I was like, I know it's about to happen. And so when it happened, I was like, not surprising. And when I did my review of this one, I ended up giving it 3 stars, because but I am going to continue the series. I'm having to buy this one because my library does not have the series, so I'm gonna have to order volume 3 at some point, but it probably won't be for this reading vlog. But like I said, I did read that one, volume 2 of Blood on the Tracks, and Skip and Loafer Volume 2. So that's pretty much all you need to know for this introduction. I think I like gave a whole like TBR and possibilities of what I could read, but I'm okay glad that that's not in here anymore, because guess what? Do you think I've been following my TBR? Absolutely not. So it's interesting the fact that I deleted an intro and now I'm having to like refilm an intro, and seeing what's been happening over the course of the past 4 or 5 days. It's been really intriguing. But yes, so welcome. This is not the introduction that existed before, but it is the introduction that exists now. Welcome to, hopefully by the end of this, I will have read 30 volumes of manga in 30 days. All right, toodles. Okay, y'all, it's late and I'm tired. So I thought I would get my fingers like out of the camera, which I'm still getting adjusted to using this camera. I did end up finishing What Did You Eat Yesterday? I don't know where the book went. I don't think I have it. Oh well. I don't know where it went. And I started Love Me For Who I Am, which is about a group of guys who work at this, I guess this shop or whatever, it's a maid cafe. And they're all boys who like wearing like maid outfits or women's clothing. And I forget there's a specific name for it. And so Magumo is attending this cafe because a friend tells him that they would fit in there, and because their friend thought that they were just a boy that likes to wear women's clothing. And come to find out, Magumo was like, no, I'm not a boy or a girl. And so this is their first encounter with someone who's identifying as non-binary. And so they're kind of just working out like how to run the cafe where Magumo feels comfortable, but also doesn't like have to, feels comfortable and doesn't have to like play along gender binaries, and doesn't have to identify as a girl or a boy. They could just be themselves. So I think that this one, I think it's gotten like really, really high praises from a lot of people. And so I'm not that far into it. I was going to finish that one and read Dissolving Classroom by Junji Ito, but I had some other stuff I need to take care of, and I am exhausted at this point, y'all, so I'm gonna call it a night. And I am at 6 volumes. Just 6. I'm still behind, but I'm gonna catch up. Mark my words. I'm gonna catch up. Okay, y'all, so I just finished volume 12 of Food Wars, which, let's see if this will focus. It's not focusing. There we go. Okay, so I just finished volume 4 of Food Wars by Yuta Tsukuda. It is the match between Ryo, Hayama, and Soma. So they are the final competitors in the Fall Classic. So the three of them, it was a 3-way tie. So they're competing to see who's going to get first place. Really, really interesting. The food that they had to cook with was pike. And Soma clearly had a skill set that was below his competitors. So it was interesting seeing them actually cook and compete. So in volume 13 is where we'll get the actual winner, because volume 12 kind of ended on a cliffhanger. I, of course, have already read this volume before. 4-star read for me. I'm going to be moving over to volume 13, probably when I get home. I'm at my parents' house at the moment for the weekend. So I have 4 or 3 other manga volumes, because baby girl's taking a nap, that I want to get to. I have one that I'd never heard of. I forget whose Goodreads I saw this on, but I have one that I've never heard of before, and that is Laid Back Camp. Move it over here. So I am going to be trying that one out. I don't know when this came out at all. Like I said, I hadn't heard about it, but it seems like it's just about some characters that go camping, which is probably really interesting. So I'm reading that one, and then of course, what I'm most excited to read, I have Blood on the Tracks Volume 4, and then I also have Blood on the Tracks Volume 5. So I probably will start with Blood on the Tracks. These usually don't take me that long, because Blood on the Tracks is definitely more focused on the art than it is on the exposition, which I appreciate, because the art is chilling. It is scary. So I'm gonna read probably these 2 volumes, and then I will move on to Laid Back Camp. But once I do that, I will check in and let y'all know where I'm at. Okay, so yeah, update time. I have not updated. It's a lot of B-roll footage. I did quite a bit of updating this weekend when I was at my parents' house, but it is now Wednesday following that weekend, and I have not updated because I just have not had the chance to update. It's been a pretty hectic kind of week for me. Like, it's not hectic like in a bad way, it's just been really, really busy. And so and I just had to sit down like and refilm the intro because I deleted. It's been a mess, y'all. It's been a mess. So essentially, I'm trying to do my count now. Okay, so I've read 11 volumes. Today is the 20th. So I am 9 volumes behind. This is like so tricky. I'm gonna have to do, it's already late, but I'm just gonna have to do some reading. So I think in the last clip that you saw me do, I was talking about a couple of things, and I'm trying to get myself back on track here with what you know and what you don't know. Okay, so I had talked about Food Wars Volume 12. I finished that. Talked about that. I did end up reading volumes 4 and 5 of Blood on the Tracks, and y'all, these volumes are something serious. Like, this manga is something serious, and I keep going back to the fact that, like, there's not a lot, like, textual wise, that's even a word, on page. You can read these in about half an hour. It is the artwork that is chilling. It is chilling. It is disturbing on so many different levels. And this one, our main character has a friend that he's made, and she kind of helps him navigate like the trauma that he's been through at the hands of his mother, which that's all I'm gonna say. Like, I don't even like going into details about this one because I think it's just an experience that you need to have. Volume 5 is a direct result of Volume 4, but what I liked about Volume 5 is that we don't see his mother much in Volume 5 at all. Like, literally, she's not really in the story itself, but her presence is on every single page. And you know, this kid is at this point going through kind of like puberty, you know, like a sexual awakening, and like it's very clear that that's indicated on page and everything like that. And like, he can't even do that because this whole idea and concept and presence of his mother is just it's off the chain, y'all. Like, it is the strangest thing. It is so disturbing. I'm so uncomfortable reading this manga. Not in a way that I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like, I don't want to read. Like, I am uncomfortable in a way that it's just like, this mangaka is gifted. So I enjoyed these 2 volumes so much. And now that I have talked to y'all about them, I can finally like return them to the library because I feel like I've been holding them hostage. But then I also feel like I'm the only person that's reading them right now, so not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Okay, so I also finished in the live show. You should have seen like some B-roll footage of a live show that I was doing. Oh, before I even talk about the stuff that I finished the live show. Laid Back Camp, Volume 1 by Afro. A hidden gem. This was such a surprise for me. I was not anticipating like really enjoying Laid Back Camp. It literally is about camping. It's about camping in winter. I'm not an outdoorsy person. I was like, this is not going to be my cup of tea. It was definitely my cup of tea and more. I ate this up. I loved it so much. It was so good. Y'all, it was so good. It was so freaking good. I was surprised because it literally is about camping. But I'm learning so much about winter camping that like I'm trying to find it because I know that I just was talking about it. I freaking put volume 2 on hold, y'all. Here it is. Volume 2. Because volume 1 was so good. So literally that's all it's about. It's about camping in the winter. And one of our characters is more experienced at camping than the other, so she's kind of like, you know, showing her the ropes. Really great. Like really, really great. So I'm definitely excited to dive into volume 2. Okay, now back to what happened with the live show. So with the live show, when we were doing reading sprints, I ended up reading 2 volumes. I read Food Wars volume 13, which this shows the results of the final competition in the Fall Classic between Soma, Rio, and also Hayama. And then, you know, we get the results of who's won. I'm not going to tell y'all. This is a reread from me, by the way. I'm not going to tell y'all who's won, of course. And then we enter a new story arc in volume 13, which the characters go through. I think it's called like a stagiaire. I think that's the name of it. I want to make sure because it's French. Yes, it's a stagiaire. And basically all of the kids at the school go to these local restaurants and like cafeterias, and you know, whether they're like, you know, kind of like your town restaurant or like some high class like fancy restaurant, like they each have to go there and they work there for a week, and then they have to make a lasting change on that like organization. So Soma gets paired up, which is funny. He gets paired up with Irina's aide, who Irina and Soma have this very interesting relationship. Soma's like completely oblivious to everything. Irina clearly has like some conflicting feelings about Soma, like I think somewhat semi like romantic feelings towards him. And of course, because her aide is there, like she is having trouble like being friends with Soma because of the fact that Irina has feelings toward it. It's very interesting. But they end up at this restaurant that has like these extreme like rush hour times, and they have to figure out like how to manage the restaurant without everybody burning out, and like what would they do like after they leave. I mean, this is why this is one of my favorite series of all time. Like it's just like really, really great. And I love the Fall Classic, but I like the first time reading this, I was glad when we were able to kind of step into a new story arc. I also ended up reading Dissolving Classroom by Junji Ito. This is my first Junji Ito. I probably should not have started with Dissolving Classroom because this is not one of his best works, and I thought maybe it was just me, but a lot of people who are huge fans of like Junji Ito, this is not their favorite. It's enjoyable, but still not like anything like this super impressive. It does get kind of repetitive. It is about these pair of siblings who go to different towns, and something evil happens every time that they appear, and each short story is about their presence there. I think the most enjoyable one probably was the last one for me because I did not see that coming, but it does in a lot of ways get super repetitive. The artwork is gorgeous, and the whole concept of it is pretty disgusting, but it makes me excited to read like Uzumaki and like Tomi and all the other stuff that Junji Ito is well known for doing. Okay, y'all, so I think like for right now, I think that's everything that I have read that I had not talked about yet, because I read volume 4 and 5, Laid Back Camp, and then those 2 volumes. Yeah, so I think that was pretty much everything, and I haven't really gotten a chance to read more yet. I still have Love Me for Who I Am. I'm still currently reading that one. I started reading it and I haven't gone back to it. I also started reading Food Wars volume 14, and I couldn't even tell you where that is. So this is the second week. So Soma completes the first week of the stagiaire, and then this is the second week of the stagiaire. So I'm about halfway through this one. So I was reading this one last night. So I'm halfway through this one. I also have Blood on the Tracks line up again. I have volume 6, 7, and 8 of Blood on the Tracks checked out. So those, I think, are ones that I'm looking forward to reading in the next day or so. And then, you know, I just have a bunch of different things that I really can choose from at this point. Like, I still have Days on Fez. I have those checked out. I don't think I talked about reading Seaside Stranger, the first volume, but I do have volume 2 checked out, which I don't know why I didn't even talk about that one. I have A Sign of Affection checked out. Izzy talked about that one, and I was really interested in reading that one. I do have Sweat and Soap volume 3 lined up because I still haven't read that yet, but I'm really interested in reading that. So there's a couple of things that I could be reading. It is kind of late here now. It's almost 12, but I'm not tired because I slept so much last night, which is not good. I need to go to sleep and I need to, you know, practice better self-care. But I am so far behind. Yeah, because I've only read, 11 volumes. So I'm 9 volumes behind. If I could knock out maybe, because Blood on the Tracks really does not take me long to read. If I could knock out Blood on the Tracks, finish up these two, which is Food Wars volume 14 and Love Me for Who I Am volume 1, I'd be at a good pace. So I may try to do that. But I am going to clean up because I did film. I'm going to clean up and I'm going to read a little bit and then I will do a check-in before I go to sleep tonight. So, bye. Hey y'all, so I am doing another quick check-in. I was actually doing some reading sprints earlier on Tamika's channel. It was Shay, Tamika, Izzy, and May were doing reading sprints for the 30 and 30, so I was able to read some for that. So I just wanted to give you an update. I started reading some manga digitally too. I know I have a lot of stuff like physically checked out, but I've been reading some stuff digitally. So last thing I kind of talked about was volume 14 of Food Wars. I ended up finishing Blood on the Tracks volume 6, which really was a difficult volume to read because we just get to see how emotionally and mentally manipulative the mother is in this series, and the gaslighting that she does to kind of rearrange the narrative of everything that's happened since volume 1, which was actually pretty intense. I didn't expect it to be that intense, but it was intense and it was very disturbing on so many different levels. So I did end up reading volume 6. That's all I'm going to say about it. I also ended up reading My Boyfriend in Orange volume 2. So I read volume 1 last year, I believe, and I forgot that part of the series is actually online and on Kindle Unlimited. When I say online, I'm like, oh yeah, it's online. What I mean by it's online is that it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I checked out volume 2. It is literally about this high school girl who falls in love with a local firefighter because she ends up getting into a dangerous situation at school. He ends up having to rescue her and she becomes slightly obsessed with him, and he's like, yeah, I'm not interested. I'm kind of really focused on my career. And in the second volume, it was really, really cute because he kind of starts to let his guard down and he begins to realize how good of a person she is. And it's almost interesting because I'm wondering I think everything's going to work out, but it kind of has that it's a little too late type of vibe to it, because she ends up going to this cafe and meeting this guy who goes to school with her, and he clearly has feelings for her. And so he's seeing the firefighter as kind of competition, and the second volume really, really ends on this huge cliffhanger when she is supposed to be doing something and some people are present, and it's really interesting. I did end up enjoying it. I gave that one 4 stars, I believe. And then during this sprint, during the sprint, I did finish up My Boyfriend in Orange. And then I started and finished Sweetness and Lightning Volume 2, which I've read parts of the series before. It is about a guy who is trying to learn how to cook or doesn't know how to cook, and he wants to learn how to cook because his wife has passed away and his daughter was really used to her cooking and just, her presence in general, and he feels like by learning to cook, it's something that he can do to kind of maintain her presence within the household. So he tries to do it, it's not good at it, and then he has a student. I can't remember, I don't think she's his student directly, but she definitely is at the same school that he's teaching at, and so she, is helping him figure out how to cook, and the three of them cook together. It's really cute, a slice of life. I think the first time I read it, I rated it lower than what I rated it this time because I felt like it's a different read for me now, like being a parent, than it would have been when I was reading it before. I just appreciate what this dad is doing in terms of like trying to make his daughter feel as comfortable as possible because the mom is not there, and you can see kind of like tidbits of that in this volume in particular. Like she has a school bag that's stained, and he's telling her when he's talking to all the other moms, they're like, yeah, replace the bags every couple of years or whatever. And so he asks her, like, can I replace the bag? And she's like, no, because this is like, it's part of mommy. So they like compromise on how to fix it. It's just the cutest thing. It's really, really cute. So I'm debating on whether I want to continue it like for this challenge in general, but I think I'm going to continue with the series. And then I also ended up reading Food Wars Volume 15. So this is after, I don't actually, y'all, I think I lied. I think I talked about maybe 13, and then I didn't really talk about volume 14 in its totality. I think I'd started talking about it, where volume 14 is basically the second week of the stagiaire, and so Soma is competing at another place, and I don't really want to say what place it is because it kind of spoils some previous volumes. So he's competing, or not really competing, he's having to work at a second location and having to pass the stagiaire at the second location. And I was really excited, even this time around, even though I knew who it was going to be, I was really excited for these two characters to be able to meet again. So after that, Soma and the rest of the people who are like top in his year, which is their first year, they all end up meeting with the Council of 10. So it's kind of like this standoff between like Soma and Megumi and one of the Aldini brothers, and even though it's Alice Nakiri, and even though Irina is part of the Council of 10, she has to sit with the first years because she's technically a first year. But it was nice seeing like the entire like crew of first years meeting this Council of 10, and there's automatically like this instantaneous tension between the two groups. So that's kind of pretty much what we get in volume 14. When we get to volume 15, we enter into another competition in the series where it is the moon festival at the school, and so all the kids basically are setting up these booths. And when they set up the booths, it's interesting because they're like 3 different areas where they can set up the booths. Some of them are really complicated, other than more like street vendor type of food places. So Soma, as Soma decides that he's going to challenge someone and being in this moon festival, and this individual just happens to be part of the Council of 10. And this one explores like Chinese cooking a little bit because the person that he's challenging, their specialty is in Chinese cooking. So I really like that. I think that the ideas and concepts that he has in terms of like what he, like how he has to essentially like evolved every time like he challenges someone, I think that that's what makes some of these volumes like really, really interesting, is that Soma goes through complete evolutions every time he has to challenge someone, which I think is really cool. So I pretty much, that's where I'm at. I'm at 17 volumes, so I'm still behind, but 17 volumes is really good. It's late, but I am back visiting my parents again. We actually went to a food truck festival today, which I did vlog, and the vlog will have been up probably for a couple weeks before this one even goes up. So I am here, and I am probably going to stay up a little bit and read. I think I want to finish Blood on the Tracks volume 7 and 8, and I think I'll be caught up. I don't think volume 9 is out yet. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure volume 9 is not out, so I'll be caught up with everything that's translated for Blood on the Tracks. I did bring with me, I brought a lot of manga with me. I did bring volume 16 of Food Wars, which I know how intense 16 gets. We enter into like another part of this new story arc that kind of, I think, really defines the rest of the series and why some people love it and why some people hate it. I still have not finished Love Me for Who I Am, so I do need to finish that, which that will be a quick read because I need to finish it. I have Laid Back Camp Volume 2. The first one, when I read it, it was a really quick read, and I really enjoyed it because it is not as text heavy. I have Chainsaw Man Volume 1, which a lot of people have really enjoyed. I don't know much about Chainsaw Man, so it'll be interesting. And then I have Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. No, Hanako-kun, that's what it is. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. And I know a lot of people have been talking about this series as well. So I have some options. Oh, and this is volume 8 of Blood on the Tracks. So I have some options. I'm hoping that before I go to sleep this evening, I will be caught up. So I would need to be at 24 volumes because it is the 24th. And I am hoping that maybe if I can get to 24 volumes and if I crank out 2 volumes a day until the 30th, you know, maybe, just maybe, I could be like, you know, I could at least read 35 volumes before the month is over with. But we'll see what happens, and I will do another check-in soon. Hey y'all, so I'm here to do another quick check-in. I am almost caught up. So today is the 26th of April and I am on volume 25. So I think I'm going to make 30. I'm pretty confident that I am going to make 30 volumes. So the last volumes that I talked about, I believe, were Sweetness and Lightning and also Food Wars volume 15. So the ones that I have read since then are The Water Dragon's Bride. I read this one because I've heard Shay talk about this one. It is literally about this cute little girl who slides into this pond and she ends up in this different kind of like, I don't know if it's necessarily a different world. Maybe it's a different time period. And she gets sacrificed to become the bride of the water dragon. And there's this other little boy who lives in this community who tries to save her and save her from his family and save her from the water dragon. And the water dragon is like very blasé, like, oh hey you, whatever, like I really don't care about you. Like, he doesn't feed her at one point, but I think at the end we kind of see him basically like, oh, like this is who she is. And I think that there may be like a slight love triangle, I'm not sure, but I absolutely adored this one. I thought it was really, really cute. So I'm looking forward to checking out the next volume. And I'm here trying to, it's early in the morning. It's really, really early in the morning. So I'm trying to be quiet, but also get this stuff kind of, you know, updated. So I also finished Blood on the Tracks volume 8. I am caught up with what my library currently has. They have ordered volumes 9 and 10, but they're not in yet because, you know, chain supply thing. This was wild. I gave this volume 5 stars. I've given every other volume 4 stars. I gave this one 5 stars. This was ridiculous. This was wild. I was not anticipating it to end the way that it did. And I think in this one we really see like our main, I think that's how you say his name, he screwed up. He has basically been broken. His mother has done her job. She wanted him to basically do everything that she says and just agree with her about everything. And he's at that point now. Like, he doesn't disagree with her. He defends her in ways that he shouldn't. He has a break, like a mental break at school. It is wild. It is super wild. But I gave it 5 stars. That's all I can. And then I ended up reading Love Me for Who I Am, which was so cute. This was really, really cute. There were a lot of just like great information about this one, like within the pages. It really does challenge the concept of the gender binary, and that even if someone identifies as trans or someone identifies as non-binary, they're not a monolith, and that you can't set your expectations on them, because our main character is non-binary but likes wearing girls' clothing, and so a lot of the characters think of them like as a girl, and they're like, but I'm not. I'm non-binary, and I keep telling you like I'm not a girl, but just because I'm wearing girls' clothing, you are thinking of me as a girl, and that's not the case. So I thought that this was really cute. I think that there's a really supportive cast, and I'm really looking forward to diving into the next volume, which I have already put on hold at the library. I think after that I ended up reading Days on Fez volume 2, which once again, this is just about our two main characters, who Kanata and Otaha, going to, or Araha, maybe it's Araha, and they are going to the biggest festival, one of the biggest festivals that Japan has, which is Japan Rocks, and it literally is just about them going to that concert. I think there is a potential love interest in this. I haven't figured it out yet, but I liked like all the components of like going to a festival and just learning more about what it's like to be at, or maybe it's called Rock on Japan. I said Japan Rock. Maybe it's Rock on Japan is the name of the festival. Anyway, I just liked learning more about them going to this festival, and it's really, really cool. I think that if you're into music festivals or learning more about music festivals, this is a manga series that you'll enjoy. I then finish volume 2 of Laid Back Camp, which is the most laid back, literally. It is the most chill manga that I've ever read. If you're looking for something that's like really, really easygoing and like is really, really calming, I definitely would recommend Laid Back Camp. This is just another volume of learning more about like winter camping or camping in general. They end up going camping by a lake in this one, which I thought was really cool, and they meet some other people who are camping who have some really cool equipment. You learn so many different things, like how to correctly burn charcoal, like what materials you're supposed to bring, like the different types of tents. I'm not even an outdoorsy person, but this manga really is doing it for me in terms of like what it's showcasing about camping. It's making me really interested in camping. So I went ahead and I put volume 3 of this one on hold at my library. My library's probably like, you are reading a lot of manga right now, which it is true. I have a lot of manga checked out. I also, is this B stars? I'm guessing this is B stars. I don't want to say it because B a star sounds wrong. I feel like it's B stars, but if I'm wrong, let me know. This is one that I've heard a lot about. I think Deidre had told me at one point that I needed to check this one out, and I finally got the chance to check it out. It is a very interesting manga about this school where the students are like they're divided into carnivore and herbivore, and in this society, like, carnivores are not supposed to eat herbivores at all, but there is I think it's an alpaca who ends up dying, and the alpaca was really, really close friends with this gray wolf whose name is Legoshi, and Legoshi is like the prime suspect because he's a huge carnivore, and it's in his nature to be kind of violent and aggressive, but you get to see Legoshi on page and learn so much about him, and he's very much so like a tender, sweet soul. He's just really, really great. I just really enjoyed him as a character. But there is the introduction of another character, and her name is Haru, and she is a rabbit, and there is a thing that happens when Legoshi meets Haru, and he's trying to figure it out. Haru is trying to figure it out, so it kind of ends on a slight cliffhanger, and I am excited to put volume 2 of this one on hold. I think the series is finished, so I can go ahead and binge it. Alright, y'all, so like I said, I am at 24 volumes. I think I've read 24, so I'm almost caught up. I am most of the way through the third volume of My Boyfriend in Orange, so I just need to read My Boyfriend in Orange and another one, and I will be caught up. So I'm excited that I am pretty sure I'm going to reach the 30 mark for 30 volumes of manga in 30 days, which I've never done before. So I'm excited, and I will check in later. Hey y'all, so today's the 28th. It is the final day of the, not the final day, it's the final days of the readathon, 30 days in 30. So I ended up reading, what did I end up reading? Sweetness and Lightning, Volume 3. I thought it was really, really cute. I think that I'm now starting to like the series more because the recipes have been better. We're starting to see like some really like cute family themes, and I'm thinking I'm gonna continue the series. I think before I only read volumes 1 and 2, and I never read volume 3, so it's been great. I am almost on like that. I think the Sweetness and Lightning was volume 26, so I'm almost on track. So I did start Kami-sama Kiss, which is an older series that I am looking forward to reading. I only got about maybe 20-30 pages into it, not that far. So this one, and then the last one, the same mangaka of Blood on the Tracks, also wrote Happiness, so I'm looking forward to reading these. So once I finish those two, I'll be caught up and I'll be 28. So hopefully I finish those two today, which I think I will. I just finished my lunch break, so I'm about to go back to work. But I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna make the 30, which is great because that was the whole goal, was for me to make the 30. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make the 30, but if I finish these 2 volumes or if I read something else, I will let y'all know and I will do another check-in. Okay, guess who's on track? I'm on track. So I have officially read 28 volumes of manga, and this is day 28, so I'm very proud of myself. So I did end up finishing Happiness by Shuzo Oshimi, which is the same mangaka that wrote Blood on the Tracks and also Flowers of Evil, which I plan on picking up Flowers of Evil sometime soon. I don't know when, but I do plan on picking it up. But I decided to start this because I absolutely have been loving Blood on the Tracks, and I was like, I'm going to pick up some other stuff by this mangaka. And this is another series that they have written, and the artwork in this one is just as good. I definitely think that their artwork has grown in Blood on the Tracks, and I like Blood on the Tracks better so far. I think that this has a solid start. I give this one 3.5 stars. It is a vampire story. It's about this young kid. He's in school. He kind of gets bullied. He's going through puberty, and all of a sudden he goes out because he's about to return a DVD. And his mom's basically like, don't go out because there had been an attack. And this girl, you know, bites his neck, sucks his blood, and she asks him like, do you want to die or do you want to be like me? And he's like, I don't want to die. So she leaves him, and he clearly is turning into a vampire, but he doesn't know what's happening to him. So this first volume really is just focusing on like him trying to figure out what's going on, even though he doesn't really know what's going on. And it kind of ends a little bit on a cliffhanger. So I put the second volume on hold at the library, but someone has it checked out and it's late and I don't think they're going to return it, so I'm kind of upset about that. But I think I can find volume 2. I think it's on Kindle Unlimited, so if they don't return it, not a big deal. I can always, you know, like I said, I can always read on Kindle Unlimited. I also ended up reading Kami-sama Kiss, which is really, really cute. I had wanted to watch the anime a long time, and I was like, no, I'm going to read the manga series first. So I read volume 1. I gave it 4 stars. It literally is about this girl named Nanami, and she ends up taking over this she accidentally ends up taking over this this kind of temple for this local deity who passes his title over to her, and she doesn't even realize that she gets there. So she meets this guy who's kind of like it's like a fox spirit, and he's telling her like, you're never going to be a good deity for this place, like you don't know what you're doing. So it's basically her trying to figure out how to become this deity, and the two of them get bonded, and he's trying to guide her. They have like this love-hate relationship, but you could clearly tell there's going to be some romance that's going to be developed between the two of them. And it's really interesting with her because she does not have a good like family life. The reason why she gets caught up in going to the deity is because her dad gambled all their money away, didn't pay the loan sharks back, and so they get he leaves her alone, which is wild. He just leaves, she gets evicted, she's living on the streets, and that's when the deity comes in, it's like, oh, you can have my place. And not realizing what his place was, so she does end up taking his place, and it just kind of goes from there. But I already put volume 2 on hold. This is an older series, I think. I feel like this one came out like I don't know, not, I want to say like early 20. Yeah, the first printing was like, yeah, December of 2010. So this is it's an older one. It's a very, very old one, but I'm excited to read it and finish the anime. So technically I only have 2 more volumes to read, and I'm caught up. And yeah, I'm caught up, and I'll be good. So I do not gonna lie, I just bought a manga that I had heard Shay talk about, and I think maybe Izzy, Shay, and Tamika have all read it. I can't remember if all y'all have read it, so correct me if I'm wrong if all y'all haven't read it. But I did buy Dick Fight Island because I was so interested. I've been meaning to read that for a long time, so I just got that one. I bought the Kindle version of that one, so that's one that I plan on reading. And I kind of want to read A Sign of Affection as well, but I don't know what else I want to read. I have so much more manga to read. Like, I just got the second volume of the Water Dragon, The Bride. That just came in for me. So I have options. I definitely have options, and you know, it's only 2 days left, so I don't see myself like reading like a whole lot more. I'm gonna make the 30, but I'll make 32. I won't say that I'm gonna read more than like 4 more volumes of manga at this point, but it's been great. This was a challenge. This is a lot harder than what people give it credit for. Like, oh my gosh, reading 30 volumes of manga in 30 days is really, really hard. Because even I went, and this is my first time doing it, and I went and I was like, oh, this is going to be so easy. Like, I can do this. Like, but it's easy to be like, oh, I'll just, you know, catch up tomorrow. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, shoot, I am so far behind. But I'm glad that I kind of like put my foot down. I was like, no, I'm really going to catch up, and I have caught up. So yeah, but whenever I do read some more or decide where I'm going to read, I will check in with y'all then. Hey y'all, so I did it. I ended up reaching my goal. I read 31 volumes in 30 days, which is great because I wasn't expecting it to go that great. So I have 3 last volumes to talk about. The first being the Water Dragon's Bride, volume number 2. We continue to follow our main character, Asahi, as she goes back to this town she was transported to. It's just weird. I don't know how to describe it, like whether it's actually like in the same world but a different time period. I haven't yet been able to figure that out, but we see the relationship develop more between her and our other main character, and we learn a little bit more about the water dragon and how he's struggling with his feelings for her, and how he doesn't really feel all that great about a human protecting her. And I think definitely there's a time jump in this one, so they're still little kids for like the most part of this, but then I think by the time we get to the end of this, they are teenagers. It's interesting because Asahi still doesn't have a voice. Her voice was taken from her by the water dragon, so we are just getting her innermost thoughts, and she is really treated badly by his mom. like, this woman does not like her at all, and so they are, I think, are gonna have like a pretty complicated relationship. But I think I gave this one like maybe 3.5 stars. And then, as you can see, I was sprinting with Tamika, Shay, May, and Izzy, and while we were sprinting, I ended up finishing How Do We Relationship Volume number 1. This is a Yuri manga about our two main characters. It's interesting because it starts off with, we know that they're in a relationship, but we are learning how their relationship developed and kind of the ups and downs of their relationship, which I think is what I enjoyed about it, is that we see them, you know, not only just figuring out like, hey, I like women, you like women, let's give this a try, because it's highly unlikely that we'll meet other women, but they are clearly are attracted to each other, but they have different expectations of their relationships, and that's very clear early on. Like, that's extremely clear. And so I gave this one 4 stars, but I was talking to Shay and Izzy, and they say that this series takes kind of a wild turn by the time we get to like volume 3. So I'm very intrigued, because there are some red flags in this one about how the two of them interact with each other. It's not the best interactions. So yeah, but I will continue reading the series until I feel like I'm not going to want to read it anymore. And the last thing that I read was Dick Fight Island. And because I don't want to get flagged, there is nothing that I can tell you about this one. I don't want to give a description of what it is, because I don't know how to do it without like severely blushing, so I'm not going to try to do it, but I loved it. I think that it is hilarious. I think that it is charming in some ways. I think that it is sweet in some ways. The yaoi manga. So it was good, y'all. And it's only 2 volumes, so I'm probably going to pick up the second volume sometime soon. Don't know when, but I am going to pick it up. It is adorable. Even though it is extremely graphic, like on page, like stuff on page, it is extremely graphic. But I really enjoyed it. So 5 out of 5 stars, one of the best volumes that I read. I think I absolutely loved reading Blood on the Tracks. I have made a decision to purchase that. Tamika told me on the live, which blew my mind, that the first 13 volumes that we are getting of Blood on the Tracks is just the freaking prologue. It's not even the story. And so my mind was blown. This is going to be a long series, so I think I'm actually going to start collecting it at this point, because I cannot wait on my library to do the thing for me. I need to do it myself. But Blood on the Tracks is really great. Volume 8 was a 5-star read for me. Dick Fight Island, 5-star read for me. It was great stepping back into Food Wars again and getting some volumes knocked out, which I think I ended up reading maybe 4 volumes, which my yearly goal was to only read 5. So I think I already have met that goal, which is absolutely great. I love this challenge. Thank you so much to Tamika, Shay, and Izzy for hosting it. It put me in the position to like explore new manga, check out new manga, pick up some recommendations from them that like I know that they have enjoyed, because I watch their channels and I get a lot, if not like 90% of my manga recommendations from them. So it was great to participate, and I'm glad that I was able to reach my goal. If there were any manga that really like stood out to you in this, let me know in the comment box below, or if there are manga series that you think I should read, let me know in the comment box below. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notification, and I'll be back with another video soon.